everybody, peace and harmony here with you here today. Narcissistic supply, and how much do they really need? We have to think about the personality disordered person in kind of like their own category. We have to look at them as a little bit different from ourselves and different from the kind of quote-unquote normal person. Well, how do we determine normal? What is normal? Well, if you were to go to a doctor and get a blood test and they're going to say that your iron is abnormal or your cholesterol is abnormal or your triglycerides are abnormal, it just means that it's off the scale in terms of what the average person has. So when we talk about normal versus abnormal, there's definitely a scale, there's definitely a spectrum on the personality disorder checklist. So there's certain criteria that a true personality disordered person, certain qualifications and hallmarks that they're going to have that indicate this type of person, this type of personality. I mean, you've heard of an A personality who's a real go-getter, they're very goal-oriented. If you ask them what their goals are, that you can pretty much bet that they're going to know what their goals are. There's B-type personality, people who are a little bit more laid back. If they don't achieve their goals or not, it's no whip to do. They're, not losing their mind over things. The A-type of personality is a little bit more uptight. Gets distressed if things aren't done or aren't done their way. And the B-type of personality, it's kind of like, whatever. And there's all sorts of different cultures who look at different personality types. The sanguine nature, the Ayurvedic scales, every culture kind of has their own, I would say, personality characteristics, and it's very interesting to study. For our purposes, though, we're going to kind of look at the DSM-3R, the narcissistic checklist that helps kind of give us an idea, or at least kind of like a guideline of whether this person is personality disordered. And one key trait, one hallmark of this personality is an excessive need for affirmation or acknowledgement. In other words, what type of people? I mean, you can think politicians, you can think rock stars, you can think other people who are CEOs, perhaps. I mean, I don't want to just use a stereotype, but there are certain personality types who are narcissistic in nature, and maybe abnormally narcissistic in nature, which really start to fit the personality disorder. And for our purposes, rather than going through a checklist, really we want to understand that it's really the misuse or abuse of power to the point where it's really hurting somebody, or so deceptive in nature that it really becomes dysfunctional. If it's dysfunction, if it's causing harm or distress in your life, then it's truly at that dysfunctional level. Just like, an alcoholic. I mean, you can be a healthy drinker, you can enjoy a glass of wine, you can enjoy craft beer, but I mean, that's a healthy, normal indulgence. But if it's, you're waking up and you're putting whiskey in your coffee, if you're driving to work and you can't make it through the day without a flask, if you're binge drinking to the point where you're drinking 24 beers, that's abnormal. I mean, just like on the different spectrum of alcoholism or overeating, there's a spectrum. And the same thing with the narcissist. So there is certain degrees, on the scale. And, the way you look at, the way maybe a good way to look at it is the more in-depth the lies, the more in-depth the deception, really the more in-depth the personality disorder, and the more apt to be, they're going to become dysfunctional in relationships. In fact, you might hear them say certain things about themselves, like, I'm dangerous, and they might use it kind of in a sly term or sly kind of underhanded comment, but maybe they're trying to tip you off to something. Or if they tell you that they're committophobic or they're afraid of committing, listen to the clues. Sometimes these people leave clues, and don't be so needy of a relationship or companionship that you overlook the things that they've told you. So again, it's just like taking stock, dealing with the information at hand, learning to acknowledge and listen, and then be bold enough, be courageous enough, have high standards enough that you can process the information and move on. So if you find they're not fit for a long-range relationship and that's what you want, then it's time for you to, yes, plan your exit strategy. You can do it. Go for it. There's better people well suited for you who are going to be more fun, more enjoyable, and who are going to experience all the wonderful things of life with you. So have courage, have faith, hang in there, and work your recovery path. Peace and harmony here with you here today. Please share and subscribe for more great tools, videos, and discussion and support. Peace out.